Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs, the podcast for visionary leaders who are ready to transform public health and healthcare through innovation. I'm your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and as a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in healthcare and public health, I understand the unique challenges and opportunities that come with bridging multiple disciplines. If you are an interdisciplinary professional, which is a high-functioning leader with expertise across different fields, then you know what it's like to see opportunities that others miss. You understand the gaps in our current systems, and you have some fantastic ideas about how to make things better. But you sometimes may feel a bit divided across your different disciplines or fields of expertise. I definitely understand. And it's why we focus this podcast to provide you with the type of support that you need. On the topic today, I want to share with you why you should be taking action. So there's kind of two camps here that I'm going to describe to you. On the one hand, we have people who are the action takers. They rip the Band-Aid off, they jump in, or some variation of that. They will learn in real time, and you might be kind of sometimes this way and sometimes the other way that I'm about to describe. But taking action means you are learning in real time. You jump in, you swim, you make it work. You figure out what works by doing. Sometimes that's required, right? You take the action and then you figure things out because you have the action, you have the response to the action, and then you're learning in real time. You're not trying to guess and wonder. It's not necessarily a flustered approach or a random approach. It's just you decide, I'm going to dive into this thing. You learn what works and what doesn't work. You learn what you need to keep doing, and you also learn what you don't need to do anymore. So I'll give you an example of this type of action. I have a client who started a program. She jumped into doing, she had an idea for doing this, and she just jumped into it and hosted this event, big community event. And it was a big hit. It was super busy. She was doing all sorts of things because it was something she hadn't done before, but she saw a need. She decided to jump in. She was exhausted, but at the end of it, she realized, oh, that was so much fun. People loved it. She got a lot of great feedback. When she finally tallied up the numbers, she realized she didn't make any money. In fact, it may have even cost her a little bit, but there was something there that she realized, okay, now I know what I'm going to do a little differently based on what happened this first time. So she made some changes. She did the next one. And then she was given a different type of venue. She explored that. She jumped in. So now that she completed the second one, it was a different experience because it was a different venue type than the first one. But now she's jumped in. She's completed 2 rounds of this, and she was able to share a list of what she will do again and what she doesn't want to do again, how she needs to have support on this in this space, and how these are the things that she wants to do herself. She learned by jumping in, taking the action, and doing it. She got feedback from participants and integrated that feedback to improve on the second round. So now she's got feedback from 2 different events, 2 different groups of people that she can now put together. Now she's refining it into something that she's excited to move forward with, but it's not something that she just kind of brainstormed and kept it all in her head. It's something she thought about, organized, and put into action. And she gathered most of her data from taking that action. So that's one example. That's one camp. That's the taking action. As you can already tell, I'm a fan of this mode, right? So then there's the other side. There's the other either category of people or a different version of you. So you have probably been in the situation that I just described where you jumped in, you learned a lot. You probably have a lot of examples over your life and career where you've done those things, learned a lot on the go, and was rapidly evolving and growing, right? So this other side where you're not taking action, this is either a group of people or this could be a different version of you, because I feel like we've all been in both situations. But when you're not taking action, here's what it looks like as an entrepreneur. So if this is speaking to you, it's okay. I'm not seeing you. I'm just I know you. And part of this is I've been here too. So this is what I mean by when you're not taking action. You think you are taking action, but you're kind of putting your action in things that have you kind of spinning around a little bit. So you do things like you work on your spreadsheets, or you work on your documents, or you work on your flyers that you never actually put out anywhere. You work on offerings and what you want to offer and services and things like that. You play with your website a lot. You redesign and rebrand, constantly rebranding because you get a new idea and then you change it, all before ever getting a client. No clients, no revenue, no experience here. You're just constantly rebranding and redesigning and thinking some more and starting a new spreadsheet and running some calculations. This is really, if you have any kind of perfectionism in you, these are typically the people that like to stay right here because they're doing this busy work, but they've not gotten any clients. It's all based on things in their head and ideas that they have. And they're trying to make everything so pretty and perfect before they ever get in front of a client. They make changes based on what they're thinking about, all in their head about things, and not based on client experience or what the clients are telling you. The people that are paying for the services are the ones that we really want to listen as we're crafting and redefining these services. So I'll give you another client example here. I've seen this, and this is actually kind of a culmination of clients because I've seen this multiple times. This type of clients will sit for, I've seen a whole year go by and they've never launched that business. They've never officially formed that business. They've never pitched their services, not one time. They've never delivered a proposal, but they've taken pages and pages of notes about what to do. They've got notebooks filled. They go to every webinar. They'll be quick to sign up for a course or training, but they've never actually presented a proposal to a client, had a sales conversation, or done any of those things. They may have a really pretty website, but never met with a client to even offer them a product or service, much less actually bring in that service. So where is this landing for you as you're listening to me? You don't have to answer, of course, but I want you to be honest with yourself at very least, right? So I have been in both of these situations. So I'm not picking on anybody here, but this is something that keeps people stuck and prevents them from being able to accomplish what they want to accomplish and accomplish what other people need for you. Because whatever it is that you're thinking about doing in your business and you want to do in your business, it's intended to serve someone else. So not taking action prevents you from helping the people that you really want to impact and serve. So again, I've been in both of these situations. So I'll give you an example. This is an example of me taking action. When I remember the first kind of big significant client as a consultant that I was able to land. And it was one of the situations where I was networking, but in all the best ways, right? So sometimes people think networking is bland or boring or this thing I have to do. I had embraced that this is something I get to do. I'm excited to meet some new people, somebody different, some new organization, and learn about them. So I was really literally doing some of the things that I teach you on this podcast to do. And I came across this organization and I was excited about their mission right away. And I genuinely connected with them, shared a conversation right there on the spot. And there was a little spark there because I was genuinely excited. They picked up off of that. We kind of crossed paths on something we were both interested in. And I started brainstorming. And I followed up with them right after the conference. And we got quickly to a meeting. And I listened to what they wanted. And what they wanted, I already had. So I had this idea and I put together a proposal. And I said, this is how we can come together and make this work. And it hadn't been done before. I hadn't done it before. And it was a win-win. It was a great fit for what I had going on. And what I had was a great fit for what they needed. So I simply priced it out as fairly as I could based on what I needed to get from it. And then what I thought it would cost in terms of being able to provide this for them. It was a 1-year contract and we delivered in that 1 year. And it was absolutely some of the most exciting work that I had ever done. At the same time, I realized that I had dramatically undercharged and was really overworked, but it was okay because I was committed to delivering and we did that. But then I was able to have a conversation with the same client toward the end of that contract. And we talked about what they liked about it. They were excited about how we delivered. And I said, I would love to continue. But what we've realized in this first year is that we really did not price this well. There was far more work involved than what we thought. They saw it too, because neither one of us had done it before and they weren't sure. So I really was able to renegotiate a price that was almost double what I started, and they did not blink. They were like, absolutely, we will put this in the budget. They got it approved. And it was then the second year of delivery at a much more fair, I guess, balance there, where we were compensated for what we did. We streamlined it based on what we experienced in that first year and realized we needed to change some things and we needed to adjust some things, but we made those adjustments based off of the experience. We jumped in and we figured it out in that first year. And I will say that I'm now in my 5th year with this client. And every year we revise a little bit and tweak it and keep going. So that's like a great example of, but it's not so rare. I mean, this is what happens quite often. It's so important that you take some action, and from that action, it determines and dictates your next steps. Okay. Here's an example. Let's give you another example. This is an example of kind of a little bit of both maybe, but more the action taking. So when I finally made the decision, there was a lot of procrastination, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. This is probably the not action taking part of me. That was when I was trying to transition from working as a full-time employee, running my business on the side. My business was really growing, and it was time to, in order to get my business going any further, I'd gone as far as I could go with having my business on the side. I'll put it like that. And I knew it was time to change. But that transition and making that decision was a long, drawn out, dramatic phase. So much so that I had decided all these things in my head about what I couldn't do and what my husband was going to think, and all these things that did not exist outside of my head. So I was really stressing more than I needed to be stressing. So when I finally made the decision, and it really was that dramatic. So that was me all in my head about what the woulda, coulda, shoulda. So whenever somebody comes to me and they're like, how do I make this decision and what is it about? I have a lot of compassion for you at this phase, because it is not a very clear decision line, and it's different for everybody. But I do know that we spend a lot more time in our head about making this decision than we need to, because that was me. But on the other side of this, once I made that decision, and I remember I worked remotely, and I may have shared this story with some of you before, but I sent all my equipment back, and here I am, the full-time entrepreneur in my nice office at home doing my thing. Like literally a week later, the country shut down, because it was at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. And that was when everything was locked up and everybody was like sent home and nothing was happening. We're all cramped in our houses together. That was my first like week of full-time entrepreneurship. And I was so stressed. I was in my house. Everybody was home. My daughter was sent home from college. My husband was home. Everybody was home. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have just let go of my full-time job. What am I doing? But I didn't have time to sit there very long, because I was also immediately in demand. Everybody was reaching out to me, because this whole epidemiology background of mine, my infectious disease background, my microbiology background, working in virology, all those things, people were searching for all those things about me, and I was being served up to everyone. So I was receiving offers from everywhere. And I said yes to everything, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm the only one that's busy right now. I'm making money. So I got to do everything. So I said yes to everything. I don't recommend this. So just so you know, but I'm just telling you this story. So when I did that, it threw me into my first year as a full-time entrepreneur. I was so busy. I was doing all different types of projects, and because I said yes to all sorts of things that was coming my way, because I was just afraid to say no. But what I learned in the process, and it didn't take me long to get here, there was a lot of things that I did not like doing. I was pretty good at it, but I didn't want to do this. But I would not have really known had I not thrown myself in there. Then there are a lot of things I love to do. So in that first year as a full-time entrepreneur, I was doing so many different things, learning in real time, loving a lot of it, and realizing that, wow, I got like such an escalated education and degree and transformation in real life of all these things about what I like to do and what I don't want to do in business, and how to set up systems and tighten systems. And that all propelled me forward, really helped me to niche down into doing the work that I really love to do. Because of course, as entrepreneurs, the beauty is we get to decide what we want to do, who we want to serve, and how we want to work. And I was able to fast track that because I took action on a lot of different things, but it was a great return for me because I was able to then really streamline and learn so much right away and be able to kind of refine that and learn where to set those boundaries and what I really wanted to focus in on. So I hope that the takeaway you're getting from this is the importance of taking action. Now, I'm not telling you to jump in and say yes to everything that comes your way, but I do caution you the tendency to get stuck behind walls that will not move your business forward. It may make your website look really pretty and all those things, but the most important thing is to really define your offering, like who your clients are and what pain points they're ready to solve. What are they willing to pay you to help them solve? That's what you need to figure out. And you will only figure that out by taking action, meeting with people, getting that first project in, talking, sharing, offering your services, delivering with clients, and learning in the process. That's the part that moves your business. And that's the take home for this episode, is to the importance of taking action. So I want you to think about where you are and what I described. And if that is you kind of stuck behind these systems, and or if you're struggling, you're stuck and you can't quite figure out what it is, then that might be an indication that perhaps we should have a chat. Maybe it's time to sit down and we can explore the possibility or the option of working together and see how I might be able to help you kind of take the action, get unstuck, and really start doing the things that help you put your business into action and start forming and developing your business, making some traction, and serving the communities that you truly want to serve. As we wrap up this episode, I will remind you that there are 2 ways that we can support you on this entrepreneurial journey. So if you are ready, looking for that personalized guidance, then we can work together one-on-one. As someone who understands the unique challenges of being an interdisciplinary leader, I can help you turn your innovative ideas into reality. Or if you've already gotten established or you're a little further along and you're ready to join a community of high functioning leaders like yourself, consider applying for our premium mastermind group program. You'll connect with other professionals who, like you, are bridging multiple disciplines and creating meaningful change in public health. In the previous episode, I talked quite a bit about that program. So if you didn't listen to it, make sure that you go back and listen to that. You can visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more. And the links are also going to be provided in the show notes for this episode. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day.